For generations, farmers in Oyo State understood the rhythm of the season. They knew when the rains will come. They knew when to plant. And they knew when harvest would arrive. But today, those rhythms are changing. The rains arrive late. Sometimes they stop unexpectedly. Sometimes they come too hard and wash away the entire farm. And for thousands of smallholder farmers, climate change is no longer a distant conversation. It is happening on their farms and in their homes.
Maize is what I know how to plant best, and I have been planting maize for about 16 years. Over the years, as a maize farmer, my experience this year wasn't a good one. I planted maize on 3 acres of land, and I didn't just plant it. I did the best agronomic practices for maize farming, but the entire crops still died.
When crops fail, it is not only food that disappears. Income disappears too. For Oyeniyi Julius, climate change is no longer a distant concept. It is a reality measured in lost harvests and unpaid bills.
Climate change makes us look like we don't understand farming at all.
The loss did not only affect his farm, it affected his ability to provide for his family.
Climate change has really affected us because by this time we are supposed to have sold our harvest and make money to cater for family responsibilities like payment of children's school fees. But because of the effects of climate change, it has made it harder for us.
The delay in rainfall really affected our cassava plants because the land has become really dry. Some of the cassava plants get burnt at the point of harvest, and sometimes the cassava seedlings that were planted take extra time to germinate. Some of them never germinate, so we replace them by digging them out.
Most of what we planted got burnt. We planted pepper, they got burnt. Even the tomato didn't do well. And we borrowed money to do farming and irrigation systems. The price of petrol has gone up too. If there is no water, anything we plant won't survive.
Climate change is one of the greatest factors that affects our yields last year, as many of the crops we planted did not yield well. Another planting season is coming, and we are hoping that this year's planting season will be better than last year so that we can get enough yield.
When the climate change started, most of the plants got burnt and destroyed.
Having worked with farmers in Oyo State for over a decade, specifically cassava farmers, I have observed and our data keeps confirming that the climate has changed. These changes we are seeing are threefold. First, rainfall has become completely unpredictable. Either it arrives 3 weeks late and the farmer has already planted, or it comes with heavy downpour that wash away topsoil and flood root crop.
Researchers say the evidence is clear. The climate is changing, and agriculture is already feeling the impact.
There is no shortage of solutions because research is ongoing and evolving every day. Years of dedicated research have produced climate-smart solutions in the form of improved varieties.
Some of the technologies we do promote to these farmers that will cope these soil-related challenges include the use of compost, the use of bokashi, the use of biochar, while for erosion, we have soil water conservation practices.
Of climate change, there are certain smart practices that we have promoted over the years, and that includes things like adoption of improved seed varieties that help farmers to adapt to some of the climate challenges. For instance, there are drought-tolerant varieties that we have promoted among small other farmers. And in addition to that, we've also conducted and implemented several projects around regenerative practices, ranging from crop rotation to even planting promotion of agroforestry farming systems.
We have already prepared our farmer that they should wait. We should tell them when to plant. Also, we as an extension officers, we sensitize our farmer that they should not plant. If at all they plant in phases.
Yeah, in that of crop, we really advise them to, especially these months, we was told by the climate that rain is going to commence by 28th to ending of April. And we told them not to plow before commencement of the rain. But immediately some adapt to the information, but some didn't. Immediately they see the first rain, especially those that plant watermelon, golden melon, cucumber, most of them starting planting. So, but the rain does not even continue. So, but we now advise them, especially those that have farms during riverine area. We advise them to do what we call spot planting. So they shouldn't plant all their acreage at times. So they should do it in phases. So if the first one are affected by the rain, the subsequent one will not be affected by the rain. So that is advice we give the farmers.
Extension workers have become critical translators between science and the farm. They carry forecasts, new technologies, and climate adaptation advice directly to farmers.
We listen to the radio for weather updates. We then follow the weather forecast to also know when there's going to be enough rainfall to start planting.
I also belong to a group of farmers where we receive training and encouragement about not relenting. We all learn from each other because there is enough information being circulated. Such information is on climate change and weather updates as well. This kind of information helps us to know when we should plant and when not to plant so as to avoid wastage of seedlings.
Some farmers are beginning to adapt, listening to forecasts, changing planting dates, using irrigation, and joining farmer groups. In Ajeja farm settlement, another solution is quietly taking shape. A weather station designed to collect local climate data, information that could help farmers make better decisions.
This is just for our environment. It doesn't work beyond Ajeja. That real-time information as per the weather, yes.
In one of our studies that we conducted in 2025, in Oyo State around the cassava value chain, cassava catfish and chicken agri-food system, we found that more men than women have access to and ownership of land and finance. And because men have access to more agricultural productive resources, they are able to make long-term strategic plans around climate adaptations, while women are forced into short-term survival tactics like selling firewood, engaging in petty trade, or reducing household meals during lean season. That is not adaptation, that is coping. And we must stop confusing the two. So for me, I would say that when women know the rain is coming but cannot afford the drainage, that is not a knowledge problem, that is a justice problem.
Women remain among the most vulnerable, not because they lack knowledge, but because access remains unequal.
When it comes to adoption of climate smart agricultural practices in the rural communities, there is always clear demarcation in the number of women and even youths that are participating in adoption of some of these practices as compared to men. And the reason is obvious, because land ownership in Africa, not just in Nigeria, is usually passed down from generation to generation, and in most cases men are the ones that have the inheritance mostly. So this leaves women rather having less access to land, which is one of the most important assets when it comes to agriculture and even crop production, right? And this limits participation of women in several interventions and even in adoption of climate smart agricultural practices.
Government interventions are helping, but challenges remain: funding, logistics, infrastructure, and ensuring that support reaches the most vulnerable. The future of farming in Oyo State will depend not only on the weather, but on whether science, government, extension services, and farmers can work together quickly enough to adapt. The solution exists. The question is whether they can reach every farmer before the next field season.